From Anne's Diary, Saturday the 13th of April 2013, Malacca, Malaysia. We have come here from Singapore. Guest house owners Mr. and Mrs. Lee were very friendly and polite. He offered to give us a guided tour of Malacca at 6:45 p.m. We went to local Chinese cafe for breakfast. Guest house is in the old part of the town, now a UNESCO World Heritage Area with Georgetown, Penang. Then walked around Old Town by a river which was very smelly and dirty green sludge colour. Saw old churches. One was 1756. Malacca was on the spice route and was a Dutch and Portuguese colony. Lots of men on rickshaws covered in fake flowers driving tourists around Old Town. Lots of Chinese tourists on coach tours. Few Westerners. Saw monitor lizards swimming in the river. Lived in holes in the wall at the river's edge. After lunch, which was Chinese food, we went on a riverboat cruise for a few kilometres. There was a fake sailing ship, a Dutch East Indies ship that had originally been shipwrecked off Malacca in a storm in 1650. This was a reconstruction of it and held in the Maritime Museum. Then we returned to a guest house, which was also a Chinese tea house, where we had fermented China tea. The ginger one was the best. Sat and rested there and chatted to Mr. Lee. Then we had showers, and at 6:45 he drove us in his battered old car around the city and showed us the sights. A Muslim mosque on the coast with views of Malacca Straits, old Malay houses, old forts, and saw a monkey and had a meal in the Portuguese restaurant, which was open air by the coast. People sending off Chinese lanterns into the sky. He carried on the tour until 10:30 p.m. He drove us to the Jonkers walk to see the midnight market and returned to the guest house, had showers, very tired, and went to bed at 12 p.m. We also went to St. John's Fortress. Sunday the 14th of April 2013, Malacca to Singapore. Had breakfast 10:30 in Chinese cafe, dim sum. Then we walked around the old town, different area, old Chinese temples, Chinese theatre, and a lot of little shops, busy with Chinese tourists. Keith brought new flip-flops. Phoenix fell ill and was sick, potentially from the seafood or shell food the day before. K&A headed back to the guest house for a rest. D&P arrived back and she went to lie down. Mr. Lee made us lovely local coffee, and then his wife did us some winter melon teas for us and Doug. Chatted and rested. Phoenix recovered a bit after a little nap. Went off to the Chinese restaurant for lunch. Had already loaded all our bags into the hire car boot. Then set off to drive back to city Johor Bahru, or JB as it's better known, which was the Malaysian city on the border. 3:15 p.m. long drive. Stopped at service station. Mainly palm trees stretching for miles on either side of the motorway. Not much sign of towns or villages. Palm tree oil and rubber are the main exports from Malaysia. Used sat-nav to get us back to the lady's house who owned the car hire company, but took us to the wrong area. 7 p.m. Spent an hour trying to find our way despite many phone calls to ask directions of the lady, which were not very helpful. She and her husband did not know the names of the local roads. Jalan Balar Street was there are 14 similar streets with numbers after their names. We needed Jalan Balar 1. A nightmare to find out, but eventually we got there. We crossed the border at the crossing, not so busy this time as it was on Friday evening when we left. Got back to the flat about 10 p.m. Went out for a Chinese meal locally. Showers. We're all very tired after our car journey and went to bed. The end.